Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Andrea and I have been running an embroidery business on Etsy for over 7 years, almost 8 years, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, this YouTube channel is where I share everything I've learned about selling on Etsy in the past and small business ownership and running a business in my 20s and all the things. So that's what this channel is about. Today specifically, we are going to be diving into the second video in I'm thinking it'll be a 4-video series all about how to run an embroidery business on Etsy. So I really love this series because I get to take the two things that I'm so passionate about and combine them together because I love doing embroidery and I love selling on Etsy, and this series is all about how to start an embroidery business on Etsy. So like I mentioned, this video is the second video in the series. So if you've already been with us, you know that last week we chose products and established an ideal client and established a brand voice for our Etsy shop, for our embroidery business on Etsy. If you have not done that, make sure to go check out last week's video. I'm gonna link it in the cards so that you can go and watch that video, because that video, or I guess this video, builds on that video. So you have to watch that video first because it all builds on each other. So we're taking the information that we gathered and the decisions that we made about our embroidery business on Etsy from last week's video and applying it to today's video. So today's video is going to be all about what to do with that brand voice that we gathered last week. So what we did last week, we're going to take the information that the decisions that we made about our embroidery business and apply them with very tactical information on what to actually do with that. So as we work through this video, I want to really quickly let you guys know that I have a free download. It's called the Etsy Shop Scorecard. You can download it in the description, and it's really, really good for setting up your shop and making sure that you have all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted, and just making sure you have all the things done for your Etsy shop, which is what we're talking about today. So make sure to go grab that. It is not essential for following along, but it'll be really, really helpful as you do this process with your embroidery business. My goal is for this video to be very specific and practical information on where to use your brand voice. This is not going to be some sweeping, grand, general new concept. This is going to be pretty nitty gritty, real ways to use the brand voice that you did or you gathered last week in last week's video. So last week's video was a pretty general sweeping video about what you want your business to be about, the vibe. This week is going to be very practical steps on how to apply what we did last week into an Etsy shop. That being said, let's talk about where to put your brand voice. How do you express your brand voice that we chose last week? And I just want to, as a general rule of thumb, let you guys know that your brand voice is to be implemented in any forward-facing thing in your business. Anything that your customer will see, which is what forward-facing means, meaning that customers will see it. Anything that is forward-facing, your brand voice needs to be all over that. So let's dive into what that means specifically for an Etsy shop. Where does the brand voice really shine? Forward-facing, what does that mean for an Etsy shop? First things first, your brand voice needs to shine through in all imagery. That means all the photos that your customer might see, your brand voice needs to be established. So last week we talked about different types of examples, and I'm just going to use my shop as an example. We have a very bright, fun, happy brand, and so that is shining through in our header image, our product images, our product thumbnails, any images we put on social media. They all need to fit the vibe and attract your ideal customer. Any image, literal image, that your customer will see needs to fit your brand vibe. This is why it's so important that you have established what your ideal customer likes to see in your brand vibe, and then you now you infuse that. That's not infiltrate. I was looking for the word infuse that into every forward-facing aspect of your business, and that starts with your imagery. If you have been hanging out on this channel for a really long time and you paid really close attention, you know that my background is in wedding photography. I still am a part-time wedding photographer and I used to be a full-time wedding photographer. So I have a very keen eye for these things and I think they're so important. So definitely you're wanting to really tell a story with the images on your Etsy shop and any aspect of your Etsy shop. So if you do an email list or an Instagram account or any of that kind of stuff, you're going to want to tell your brand vibe and your brand voice is going to want to tell that story in your photos. The next thing that you definitely need to have your brand voice shine through in is anything your customer reads. So this is called like copy in the business world. Any copy that your shop has, anything that your customer would read needs to read the way that your ideal client would want to read them. This includes your shop announcement, listing descriptions, social media captions, emails if you send them out, literally anything that your customer would read. So you might be thinking, how do I make my brand voice shine through something that my customer would read? This is a very, I'll just do this in examples. So our brand voice, like I mentioned, is very bright, it's young, it's fun, it's happy. We talk very casually in all copy is written very casually. It's written with a lot of exclamation points and I'm not too worried about capitals and stuff like that. It's written pretty casually. If you are selling invoice templates and resume templates, you likely have an entirely different brand voice than me. It probably needs to be very professional, very grammatically correct, very straight to the point because you're selling to a totally different person and that's just a very extreme example of we have a very casual brand voice and someone else might have a very professional brand voice. And so just making sure that shines through in anything that your customer would read. There is one exception here, and this is a pretty big one. So this is the one exception to something that your customer might read that you do not want to have your brand voice shine through on, and that is your shop tagline. It's a little line of text underneath your shop name in your Etsy shop. This needs to be keyword rich. I don't care if your brand is whimsical or fun or professional or moody. This tagline needs to, in a clear and concise way, say exactly what you sell. This is definitely something that Google reads for SEO, and so you don't want it to be whimsical or anything but really straightforward. You really need this to be straightforward because this is what this is how Google knows what you sell in your shop. So definitely your shop tagline is the exception. Do not make that branded. Make that clear, concise, and strong keywords. The next place that you are definitely going to want to have your brand voice really shine through is in your entire about section. The next video on this channel, so if you subscribe, the next video on this channel will be all about your about section, how to fill it out, why it's important, literally all the things. So while this video, I'm just touching on the about section and what it needs to be, the next video on this channel is going to be all about the about section. So make sure to subscribe if that is something that you have not set up and you want to set up. But the long story short is that your about section is really good for customer experience and it's really good for SEO. As far as your brand voice, you want to make sure that it is infused in every part of your shop section. So the pictures you choose for your about sections, the stories that you tell, the wording, the videos that you share, literally all of it. You'll notice that in our about section, we really focus on the travel aspect of our stories, like how we got inspired by the ocean, because that is what our brand is about. If you are someone that sells newborn clothing, you might tell the story of your newborn whenever you had your first baby and it was so impactful and it changed your life, but you probably don't need to tell the story about how you traveled in college. You know what I'm saying? Choose the stories that you tell based on the brand voice and the story that you are trying to convey to your ideal customer about your shop and your products. So that whole section, the about section, we're gonna cover it all on the next video on this channel, but make sure that you infuse your brand voice into every single part of your about section. Obviously, what is forward facing for your shop depends on how you choose to market your shop. So you might say that you're gonna do TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, email list, Etsy, and then all of those things need to be branded. We do not do that at our shop. I have a video all about how we grew our shop without social media. Our social media following is very piddly. We're very inconsistent. We get most of our sales from Etsy search. So I'll link that video in the cards, but just know that what is considered a forward-facing aspect for your shop is highly dependent on how you market your shop. And I do recommend anything that your customer sees. So any social media platform, any email that you send, listing photo, if you have your own website, the about section, anything that your customer might see. So the not forward-facing aspects of your shop would be like your client software or your ship station, if you're using that, your Etsy backend. They're not going to see any of that, but anything that they will see, you want to make sure is on brand. I tried to cover the really big categories just so that you could get a really good idea of what forward-facing is and how to infuse your brand voice into any forward-facing aspect of your shop. I tried to cover the big categories and the Etsy specific categories, but just know that it does not stop there based on the kind of shop that you are having and how you want to market it. You definitely need to make sure that even if I didn't mention it, if your customer will see it, that your brand voice is alive and well on that spot, if your customer is going to see it. As far as the tech tutorials for all of this, you can edit your shop. On your shop page, there's a little edit button and you can edit your header, your announcement, your about section. You can rearrange your items. You can do that all on your shop page, and you just do that by being logged into Etsy and going to your shop's homepage and hitting edit shop, and you can edit all of those things. Anything on the listing, so photos, descriptions, anything that's on the listing that you need to edit for your brand voice can be done on the page where you create your listings and can be done on the actual product listing page. So don't let the tech overwhelm you. It's very easy. If you have tech questions, please just let me know. I can create a video to hopefully explain it. There are tons of tech tutorials on this channel about how to create a listing and all of those things. So just don't let the tech overwhelm you. Seriously, Google will be your best friend when it comes to actually implementing the tech. It is not hard at all. Etsy is one of the easiest platforms tech-wise. So wrapping up this video before we head into the third video of the embroidery series, wrapping up this video and the last video, what we've learned so far in this embroidery series is what we want to sell, our ideal customer, and the brand voice for our products based on what we're selling, and where to implement our brand voice. So if this video had a homework assignment, which I mentioned in the last video, but if this video had a homework assignment, it would be to start infusing your brand voice into every forward-facing aspect of your business. So any social media, all of the spots in your shop. If I was brand new starting out, I would definitely start with the Etsy specific stuff. So that's your header, your shop announcement, your listing photos, your description, your about section. Start with Etsy and then move into the social media, because like I said, we didn't even use social media to market our business, and so that is a decision that you might make later to not even want to really do. And so I would definitely start with the stuff that's sort of not optional and start with the Etsy specific stuff. So that would be your homework assignment today. I really hope that this video was helpful and that you find it helpful. If you are starting an embroidery business on Etsy, make sure to come back next week because we will be diving into the third video in this series. And yeah, I really hope this was helpful. If you are wanting to start a business on Etsy, that is exactly what we talk about on this channel twice a week, every week. So make sure to join us, and I will see you guys in the next video.